What started as the Way became the world's most influential faith. But now, 2,000 years later, two media and marketing experts say we need to find the way back. Take a look.
Jonathan Bock and Cooke have created and marketed hit films like The Blind Side and The Chronicles of Narnia, and TV shows like The Bible and CNN's Finding Jesus. As experts and Christians in the entertainment industry, they believe faith in Jesus is the last hope for our crumbling world. But Jonathan and Phil say Christianity isn't trending, and in reality, there's a slow drip erosion of the Christian faith. In their book, The Way Back, Jonathan and Phil take a hard look at why our faith is losing ground and offer the changes we should make for a much-needed comeback.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Phil Cooke and Jonathan Bock. Good to have you both with us.
Thank you.
The way back. Well, you know, people say, well, what does that mean? The way back from what? But there is sort of a hostility in our culture today toward Christianity, toward faith, I guess you could say. You know, you thought originally that it was maybe a PR problem, but what did you find as you researched?
Yeah, well,
that?
you know, we're marketing guys, so our solution to every problem is a PR
better commercial,
solution.
right?
That's right. If your house is small, don't call it small, call it cozy.
Yeah.
Right?
Marketing answers everything.
But as we started to look into what's going on with Christianity right now, we realized it's a much deeper problem than a PR problem. Essentially, there's a disconnect between who we see as ourselves and how other people see us. And I would use the example of the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. These are the things that we're supposed to be known for. Which of those words would non-Christians use to describe us? Yeah. And the answer is none.
None.
Yeah.
You know, there's a disconnect sometimes in our faith today, too, between what we say we believe and the nitty-gritty of how we live. Phil, talk a little bit about some of the stats that you put in the book.
Well, we decided to go back and just check some baseline areas. This is not hard stuff. This is not fasting or mission trips. This is prayer, Bible reading, church attendance, tithing, just the simple baseline stuff. And we got some of the biggest research firms in the country: Gallup, Pew, Barna, Lifeway, and we discovered that what we say we're doing is not what we're actually doing at all. Give you some examples. For instance, we discovered that when it comes to Bible reading, 40% of church-going Christians read the Bible rarely or never. That's almost half of the people in the pews today read the Bible rarely or never. We found out that we've dumbed down, lowered the bar for church attendance so much that if you attend three out of every 8 Sundays. Yeah, 3 out of every 8 Sundays. You're considered a regular.
Attendee.
Yeah,
wow.
that's 19 times a year.
That's 19 times a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're a regular now. Tithing, less than 10% of church-going Christians tithe 10%. It's just horrible.
How did we get here? I mean, what happened? You say that today Christians are worshiping the other God. What do you mean by that?
We almost called the book that, The Other God. We think that it looks like we've created an idol, and we don't think of ourselves as idol worshipers. When our pastor goes on vacation, we don't create a golden calf in the lobby. But the truth is,
an obvious one.
so we've started worshiping this God that looks like the God of the Bible, but he's much more forgiving. He understands that we don't have time to go to church. We're busy. He understands that we don't have time to read our Bible. He understands that I'm having an affair on my wife because, you know, she's gotten older and she's a little grumpy these days, and he wants me to be happy. And we've created this God in our own image instead of living our life in the image and the way God has called us to live.
You know, it's kind of our awe and reverence for the holiness of God is missing. How do we get that back?
I think it really comes down to we need to get back to the early church and use them as our model. They were an extraordinary group of people because, remember, they started with nothing. They had no power. They had no influence.
And
they
a
had
great
hardly,
big commission.
Right.
And they had hardly any influence at all. They were just, you know, guys standing on a hill who said, okay, well, let's get going. And out of that, in 200 years, it became one of the most dominant and influential forces in all of culture that has continued to have incredible influence. So how did they do it? That's what we try to do, is say, let's go back and look at it.
So give me some practical ways that believers today can get back to faith and life as God intended it for us.
Well, we discovered that the early church couldn't act. I mean, they couldn't change the laws, they couldn't protest or complain, but they could do things. And so they would do things that literally astonished the culture in the Roman Empire. And historians today tell us that they were so baffled, so astonishing that it forced the culture to rethink who these people are and who's the God we serve. So in the book, we ask, what are the things we could do today that would so astonish this culture? You know, we've tried politics, we've tried boycotts, we've tried criticism, anger strategies really don't work. Nobody changes because you get mad at them. So what are the things we could do? And one of the things, we threw out some suggestions. For instance, foster care is a great example.
Boy, it is. I know where you're going with this.
We're in L.A., and every month the L.A. Times has headlines about how corrupt or abusive the program is there. They're wonderful foster families, but it's a broken system. And there are 400,000 foster kids in America, but there are 350,000 churches in America.
Yeah.
What if each church just took in one kid? Literally within a year, the whole need for foster care would disappear. And how would the culture view the church if suddenly we made foster care just go away?
We put our lives where our mouths are.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
The impact would be amazing.
Speaking of doing something interesting, your family does the Craigslist Christmas. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, it started about 10 years or so ago. My wife and I posted in the free section of Craigslist right at Christmas time and said, if you're having trouble getting presents for your kids, just let us know and we'll try and help you out. And now over the last 10 years or so, we've helped hundreds and hundreds of families. And I'll ask them to show up and meet me at, say, like Target, for example. And they'll come, very afraid, but they'll come, and we'll walk them through Target, and we'll buy them what they want for their kids.
How fun.
Yeah, and that's grown. So he enlisted Kathleen and I, other couples. This year, I think we had about 15 couples that had come to work with different people.
Wow.
Please steal this idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do it next Christmas.
Well, the book is called The Way Back, and we have just skimmed the surface, but I highly recommend it. It's available wherever books are sold. You know, it's an interesting thing because God, when he's nudging us, gives us more than one message. And just in the last week alone, we've had another leader who has come through saying, back to the book of Acts, back to the book of Acts. So let's get back to the word, and maybe we should start with the book of Acts and see what they did and follow it. Check out our social exclusive interview with Phil and Jonathan on our Facebook page. If you'd like to watch that, all you have to do is facebook.com/700club. Again, the book is called The Way Back. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.